own choice. We're starting with the father of the bride, the first toast.
Good evening, everybody. Should I hold it this close? Okay. Good evening, everybody. For those of you who have not met me, which are very few, but I think most of them are on this side of the room. My name is Dan Samyak, and I am the proud father of the bride. And I'm so happy and honored to have Jason as my new son-in-law. My first son-in-law, might I add. Now, before I gush about these people, I want to say one thing, and then I'll move on to some acknowledgments. But I asked my wife during the ceremony, how long has this ceremony been going on? And she said 20 to 25 minutes. So I thought, okay, I deserve at least half of that time. So if I seem as though I'm going too long, it's just because I've written all this stuff. I'm going to try and do it without looking at it, but I want to cover it all. So with that being said, on behalf of my wife, Tammy, myself, and Jason's parents, Debbie and Benny Boydston, I want to really tell you how much we appreciate all of you traveling some thousands of miles to be here to enjoy Jason and Patsy's special day. We heard them say it to us last night at the rehearsal, and I'm repeating it, and I know they feel the same way about what I'm saying to all of you now. And what I'd also like to say is we were fortunate enough to be here tonight, because when we were here for the rehearsal last night, I want to say it was probably 50 degrees, windy, cloudy. The steps that we had to climb down were slippery, and I was like, how are we going to do this? You know? And if it was the same tonight, you would be surrounded by plastic right now and probably have some heaters going, because this is where it was going to happen. So, secondly, I'd like to acknowledge the wedding planners. This is my wife, her sister Kathy, Patsy, of course, her sisters Emily and Jennifer, and everyone who was checking out the Pinterest posts and commenting on them. And of course, most importantly, I found out late in this that Jason himself was the only one to attend the final and crucial floral meeting with the person. So if you look around, I think it's probably due to that last meeting what you see on your table.
Yeah, Jason.
And so I'd also like to thank Debbie and Benny and the city of Allison, Texas for hosting a bridal shower for Patsy and Jason. And I say city because I understand that a large portion of the population of that small town that Jason's from attended that bridal shower. And Patsy called us and said, oh my God, the whole city is coming. But she is very happy and pleased to have had that happen. I thank you. And also for the rehearsal dinner last night. It was wonderful. That's by the same chef, and I'm sure you'd all agree that would have been good. So with that being said, I would like to, hang on. See, this I should have been looking at my paper. Jeff Body, my brother-in-law, the officiant of the ceremony. He did such a wonderful job, and I think that we could hire him out to any wedding, and people would be pleased to have him. So thank you very much, Jeff. I know it means a lot to Patsy to have been married by her uncle. So with that being said, I'd like to talk a little bit about our newlyweds. Has anybody called you newlyweds yet? No. They are newlywed.
Yeah.
1.5 hours. And Patsy was talking to her mother and I the other day, and she said, hey Mom, guess what? I have been working for Hyatt Hotels for 5 years now. And also, I've been mother to my dog Carmen for 5 years. That was probably more significant to her. Carmen, for all of you who don't know, is a dog that is in a hotel room right now waiting for Mom and Dad to come back. And probably finding any scrap of food she can in that room and eating it. So, anyway, I want to take a little bit of credit for Patsy working for Hyatt, because 5.5 years ago she came to me and said, Dad, I need to do an internship for my degree. And she had a choice between some local mom and pop hotel or working for the Hyatt Hotel. And I told her that if it were me, I would go with the bigger company. You'll have more experience. They're going to have more traffic. And so Patsy, The reason why that is significant, first of all, is Patsy came to me for advice. If there was any advice that was to be given in our house on something dealing with education or success, it was with that woman over there, Tammy. So I was surprised, but she listened to me. And she, with her personality, her smile, we soon had reports of, hey, we got a tip of $100. and her management started recognizing her, and so much so that when her internship was over, they said, Patsy, we want you to work for us. And I think she was given a couple of options. I don't know what the other one was, but she said, I'm moving to Austin, Texas, 1,000 miles away. And I thought to myself, you know, when Patsy calls and wants something from us or to come and visit, we only have to drive 45 miles. And so here she is moving 1,000 miles away, and I thought, oh my gosh, we're not going to be able to do that anymore. And I was a little nervous about her, but we found out pretty quickly that Patsy made friends, and she did well in her job, and she discovered that half hour to and from work, she said, hey, I can call home and talk to Mom every day and tell her what's going on. And if Mom didn't pick up the phone, I could call Emily or Jenny. As a last resort, she would call me. Because the conversation would go something like, oh, Patsy, yes. Oh, you're on your way to work? Great. How's it going? All right. Okay, I gotta get back to work. I'll talk to you later. I'll tell your mom you called. So she didn't call very often, but I'll tell you, her mother and I couldn't be more proud of where Patsy is right now and the hard work and the recognition that she's received. And one of the other ways that she would keep in touch with us is she would post pictures on Facebook of Carmen chasing Joey. Is that right? Do you still have Joey? Joey's gone? Oh no, Joey was the cat. So, but anything that she was doing, she would post pictures on Facebook. And I remember the day that my wife said to me, hey, Patsy has got this new guy. His name is Jason. And the girls were looking at the picture and they're going, oh my gosh, he's so tall. And he's so good looking. They said, come over here to the computer and look. I was like, okay, I'll come over. And you know, we can look at Jason right now. He's a great looking kid. He is tall. He's actually taller than I am. But then they told me what he did for a living. He was the PGA teaching professional at the resort. And right away the wheels started turning. I was like, hey, finally I can get a golf lesson on how to swing a golf club. Well, you know that, we did go out to the driving range once and I heard a snicker when I hit my first ball, so I think he thought I was a hopeless cause. Now what I have gotten out of it was I got a couple of nice Wolf Dancer golf shirts. Now, I want to tell you, those shirts do not work. The Dress for Success thing does not extend to golf shirts, because I wore them just like you told me, and I didn't get any better. So I still need some help with that. Now, I remember the first time we met Jason, Tammy said, hey, I can go to a seminar in San Antonio. So we traveled to San Antonio. And of course, Patsy got wind of this and said, this is a great time to move. So I met Jason the day after I drove to Austin. Patsy and I picked up a truck, and the first time I met Jason was in the back of the U-Haul truck. And I knew right away he was vested in this relationship because we shook hands, we said hello, hey, finally glad to meet you in person, and then we got right to work. You know, so 6 hours later, we were mid-afternoon, we had a late lunch. And I found Jason to be a very hard worker. I mean, he probably even offered to help with the washer and dryer, you know, which was nice. And I was able to drive back to San Antonio that evening, and I told Tammy, I said, hey, this is a great kid. You know, he's a great guy. And Patsy would, of course, drive over with Jason that evening, and they would have dinner with us. They'd spend the next day at the pool. And we'd drive to Austin, and so we spent pretty much the better part of a weekend, and we knew right away that they shared something special. Now, I think this is where I'm forgetting where I'm at in my speech, but anyway, that's going to happen. So I know exactly where I'm at. Settle down. Jason and Patsy would come to Ohio, and the rest of the family would get a chance to meet them. Most importantly, Drew and I would find out that Jason knew how to shoot pool. He knows how to play ping pong. So you got a golfer, a pool player, a ping pong player. I mean, it could have been better for us guys. Now, I don't know what the girls saw in him, but we thought he was a perfect fit for the family. So, Patsy and Jason would go off. Hey, give me 1 second, all right? I'm no public speaker. Okay, you found that out right now. Okay, well, like I said, Patsy would continue to post on Facebook about how well things were going between them and how well Jason is doing his job. Matter of fact, some of you know that Jason is starting a new job as the head golf professional at a a private resort called Onion Creek. Now, I emphasize private because obviously the closest I'm going to get to that golf course is Google Earth. I looked at it, and private means you just don't go there. But, so anyway, I'm hoping to be invited over as an inspector to check, whether the greens are rolling right or the fairways are mowed down enough. And I'll take 18 holes to do that. So, you give me a chance. So, but it wasn't Jason's work and how much success he had in work. It was how we knew he made Patsy feel. And the pictures that we see on Facebook, the smiles, and then Jason and Patsy gushing about each other. My Man Tuesday, I think, was one, or something like that. And Jason saying, "Oh my gosh, I really love this girl." And of course, that didn't happen when I was growing up. But so I think we all started thinking to ourselves, "This is the guy." And Jason, being the gentleman that he was, came to me, 15 months ago now, night before Christmas, and said, "Hey, Mr. Shaniak, I'd like to marry your daughter." And I mean, who was I to stand in the way of progress? And my wife would have killed me at that point if I had even questioned whether we said yes or not. So Jason proposed the next morning. Everybody on Facebook knew 5 minutes later. And it was a beautiful proposal. Now, there was plenty of tears of joy from my wife. I think Emily was crying at the time. And as things moved forward through this engagement, there were other tears of joy shed by myself. Patsy called home one day and said, "Dad, you can take me off your car insurance." Oh my God. Fantastic. And, it may have been a month later, she called and said, "We're going to go on our own phone plan." And I thought, oh my God. We knew where all those megabytes were coming from. They were coming from that girl right there. I don't know what she was screaming, but that's where I'd say, "Tammy, our bill is $400. I know I talked to Patsy. So when that day came, I cried. Anyway, so Patsy has continued to post all through this 15-month engagement. And we've all seen what they've shared with one another. And I'll leave you with this. There's one thing that some of you don't know about Patsy, and that is she is a Disney movie freak. If there is a Disney movie out, it is in her portfolio. She has one of those big binders, and I think there's maybe 200 movies in it. Now, I think she thought she lost it one day, and I couldn't talk her off the ledge. But so anyway, her theme for her bridal shower in Ohio was the Disney princess theme, and her bachelorette party was held down in Florida where she ran in the Disney half marathon. And when I was following her after she sped past me to the rehearsal, I saw the little Disney emblem for the Disney half marathon. Now I tell you this because the Disney princess, everybody knows the story. Every Disney princess gets her prince. What do? They fall in love, they get married, and they live happily ever after. So I am quite confident that we are all going to see a lot of Facebook postings from these two. And if you raise a glass, I'd like to propose a toast to Patsy the princess and her prince Jason, newlyweds. May their love continue to grow and may they live happily ever after.